Mommy, Mamacita. Well, hello everybody, Anthony here. Welcome back to another bombshell episode of the Single Parents Podcast. This is the podcast for anybody whose life may have turned out a little less than traditional. Hope you all are doing well today. After a few weeks of having some incredible guests on the show, today, you just get me, you just get your boy. We're just gonna chill and we're just gonna talk a little reality TV today, baby. So next week, we're gonna have another wonderful guest on the show as we continue Hot Entrepreneur Summer. Throughout the summer, we're just encouraging single parents in particular to think about what it might look like to venture off, start a business, do something to secure the success of you and your family, especially financially in the future. So we're bringing in people to kind of speak into that. But for today, like I said, we're putting a little bit of a pause on that to talk a little Love Island USA, baby. So something about me, little fun fact, is I love my reality TV trash. Like we're talking The Bachelor, Temptation Island, F-Boy Island. Basically, you take a bunch of hot people with abs and lip filler and you put them on a beach somewhere. You're trying to get them to fall in love somehow. I eat it up. Give it to me. Yes, love it. I'll take 14. Love me some trash reality TV. And one of the shows I've been indulging in over the last several years has been Love Island USA in particular. Like last year in particular, like, oh my gosh, like if you know when it comes to Love Island season 6, like highlight of my year watching that season. And, you might say, okay, that's a little pathetic, but hey, you like what you like. We all have our guilty pleasures, and reality TV dating trash is mine, particularly when it comes to Love Island. What's interesting about this season, though, and I started the season excited about this reality, and then my excitement kind of dipped as we got to know this person a little more throughout the season. But they announced season 7, 2025 season of Love Island USA would include a single mom. That person being Huda, and I'll show a picture of her here for the video consumers of the show. This is Huda, and I was super excited when they announced her on the show. The first episode of the season, she says, "Hey, I'm a single mom. I have a daughter. She's like 4 or 5 years old." And I was like, "Woo, yes, representation, baby. We're gonna get some hot SP representation on one of the biggest shows of the year. We love to see it. Team Huda, Team Huda." Huda's a crash out. Huda doesn't speak so nice. Huda might be a little crazy, a little toxic, a little verbally abusive, so we didn't love to see that. And so, yeah, that excitement, that cheerleading for Huda, kind of those emotions eventually changed. But there were still some interesting things I was able to take away from watching Huda 5 nights a week on my TV throughout the summer. And particularly when it comes to me viewing it through the lens of a single parent. We're talking about dating and communication and just different things of that nature. I was really able to form some interesting thoughts despite what I might have thought about Huda's antics on the show. And that's what I wanted to break down on today's episode. I know today's episode is going to be very niche. It's going to be very for the corner of the world that is watching Love Island season 7 or has watched it and maybe has some context when it comes to Huda and how she handled herself on the show. But it's just, hopefully it'll go into some more broad talking points as well as we just look at things like dating and communication and all that sort of good stuff. So love that you're here. Love that you're checking out the episode. This episode's not just so you're just a little aware, just to say this up front. This episode is not really going to be like a breakdown of like Huda's journey on the show. Like I'm not going to go through and talk about the episodes or the stuff with Jeremiah and all that stuff. Like it'll come up. But the thing with the time I'm recording the show is that I think we're on episode 22 of the show right now. That's the most recent episode that just came out, episode 22. But if you don't know about Love Island, they're putting out episodes of that show 5 nights a week. So by the time I actually get this episode out, I could say all these things about the show and 50,000 things could have changed. And Huda might not even be in the villa anymore. Like there's just, so to help this be a little more of an evergreen conversation, meaning that no matter when you check it out, it'll still have some relevance. We're not really going to break down what's happening on the show and when it comes to those particulars, because the show moves so fast and things change. But we're going to talk about 3 big takeaways that I have after watching Huda on Love Island season 7. And I think it's going to be a good time. But before we do get into that good, a few things I'd like to ask you to do. First things first, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bells, turn on notifications so you never miss an episode in the future. Second, maybe consider sharing the podcast. Share the podcast with a friend, with a neighbor, with somebody cute that you would love to pull for a chat. Like I said, I know this conversation might be a very niche, but I know we have our Love Island fans out there who also happen to be single parents. So we just need to share the show so we can find our people, right? So please help me do that. And third things third, only do this if you think the show is legit and worthy of this, by the way. But maybe consider rating the podcast 5 stars, highest rating possible on your favorite platform. That way we can tell those algorithms out there that the show is legit, and it'll pass it along to more people. Did you know that at Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, not only are we recruiting the next top talent in the financial service industry to come in, get licensed and trained to help a lot of people and make a pretty good living doing it, we also connect individuals and families with licensed financial strategists who love nothing more than sitting down with people and helping them accomplish and succeed in their financial goals and dreams. Thinking about retirement? Do you think it's possible you could leave generational wealth to your children? Speaking of your children, do you know if they're properly protected if something unfortunate were to happen to you? Single parents out there, where are your kids gonna go? Who are they gonna be placed with if something dire does come your way? We sit down, we help break it all down. We come up with solutions that are best for you and your family. And the amazing part about this whole thing, our appointments are 100% free. Yep, all you gotta do is get in touch with us and we'll put you in contact with the financial strategist who will make sure that everything is properly planned out for your financial future for free. We also have an amazing referral program for professionals and business owners who might be looking to add an additional revenue stream to their portfolio. Yes, we're talking about real estate agents, mortgage brokers, property managers, CPAs, and tax professionals. This might be an easy way for you to add additional revenue to your business model. Reach out to us one more time. That's Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, where change starts now. So like I said, there's 3 big takeaways that I have from the season so far, watching Huda be our single parent representation out there in the world, if you will. Like I said, I wish that representation came from somebody who didn't cause so much harm on the show, that a lot of people have some strong opinions about, a lot of negative opinions about, but it is what it is. But the first big thing that I kind of observed and kind of wanted to dive into is the reality that sometimes when it comes to being a single parent, especially when that single parent might be in a co-parenting situation, there could be an assumption that the other parent in the situation is just a total scumbag, total dirtbag 100% of the time, absentee, not present, not there, not doing anything to be super involved in the kids' life. It's easy to form this assumption when we only see or talk to one half of the team, right? One half of the co-parenting team. So in Huda's case, she comes on and she says, hey, yeah, I'm a single mom. I'm looking for this when it comes to love. I have my daughter. And that's how she kind of starts the show. What got me thinking about this is that almost instantly, so many people were going online, TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, and just assuming that the father of Huda's daughter just wasn't there, or maybe was just, a piece of crap. That's why Huda needed to go on the show and find love, because she needed to find a dad for her kid, because the biological dad is just not even in the picture anymore. A lot of assumptions about that. But then if you go on TikTok, you can actually see that Huda's baby daddy is super involved, and seems like it, at least. I mean, I know social media, you can be portrayed in 1,000 different ways, and it's a lot of like image projection stuff, but from just what we can see and observe from the videos that he puts out, he does seem like he is in his daughter's life, and he's very loving, and she seems well taken care of, and he seems very, very present. And then I went back and I kind of listened to Huda talk about her reality in the show, on the show, especially those early episodes when she's letting us as the viewers know about her life. She never said, to her defense, that he wasn't a big part of her life. She actually never even says she's looking for a dad for her kid. She just goes on saying she's looking for love, and she hasn't had success in the future. She never actually even really mentions him. She mentions that she's a mom, a mamacita, and she mentions that that's just part of her life, but she never calls him out. She never talks bad about him. She just never even really mentions him. I think maybe until a few episodes later, where she's talking to somebody and she mentions that the dad is present in all these different things. So I just thought it was interesting that so many people assumed that the other parent was just complete garbage right off the bat. And I think that can be interesting when we think through talking about co-parenting dynamics, because oftentimes we are only talking to the mom of the dynamic in that conversation, or in the room, or at coffee, or something like that. And so we're only getting one side of the story, and we kind of often have to fill in the gaps sometimes, because the other person's not there to share their side of the story or their perspective, or just talk about what life looks like for them. And so there's just this stereotype, especially when it comes to dads in these situations. There's just this stereotype of like, oh, well, obviously the dad's not there. The dad went off to get milk and never came back, or the dad barely wants to have the kids, or maybe we'll have them only on every other weekend, and that's what he's happy about, and he doesn't want to pay child support, and blah, 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 blah. There's just this automatic assumption and stereotype, especially with the dads, and it goes with the moms too, that people will often fill those gaps in with. And there's sometimes not enough benefit of the doubt, not enough grace given to be like, okay, well, maybe the dad is present, maybe the mom is present, maybe they do have a good co-parenting dynamic. So I can't assume just because these two people aren't together that the other person is total garbage, because maybe that's just not their reality. And it doesn't seem like that's the reality with Huda and her baby daddy in this. Again, I don't know their situation. I don't know I don't know all those details, but I just thought it was interesting that so many people jumped to that conclusion. And I know that there are a lot of absentee dads out there, and absentee moms, and scumbag moms and scumbag dads who aren't as present and don't want a lot to do with their kids, or are not a healthy, safe place for their kids to be around. And that is the case a lot of the time. I understand that. I'm just saying that that's not the case 100% of the time. So I just think it's interesting that we as a people automatically fill in those gaps with the assumption that the other parent is a complete loser, when that just might not be the case. Next big observation I have after watching Huda on Love Island honestly has a lot to do with communication. Communicating to other people the reality that we as single parents have kids, if the other person or the other group of people don't already know that information. So for me, I've had to think through this, because I mean, me being a single dad, it's kind of like my whole brand, right? It's kind of my whole thing. Like if you especially go peek on my socials, if you go spy on my Instagram, or just even just look throughout any of my socials for more than 3 seconds, you're going to see like, oh yeah, he's a single dad, and that's all he ever talks about. But for a lot of people who maybe are on dating apps or just meeting people out in the wild just naturally, or we kind of talked about this on an episode before when a single mom went on the show Love is Blind, and she kind of waited a little bit into the filming to let the person she was talking to know that she had a daughter and she was a single mom. So this dynamic of like, okay, when do you let the other person know? Do you do it immediately? Do you do it after you've gotten to know them a little, after they've gotten to know you a little bit, so they don't only put you in the box of single mom, single dad, and we've talked about that before, and that's not really what this point is about. But this point is more about how when we communicate to others that we are a single mom or single dad, we do it through the lens of like, hey, this is just about me, and this is me, versus, hey, you come into my life and there's also going to be this other person who this impacts and this could affect as well. That other person or those other people being our kid or our children, who are also a part of this relationship when we choose or think about bringing another partner into the home dating wise. So here, let me break this down. An interesting observation that people had about Huda and how she would communicate that on the show is that she would tell people, hey, I am a mommy, especially people. Well, there's this one guy in particular, if you're not watching the show, Jeremiah, they were like pursuing a relationship for a while, and she waited a few episodes before she told him she was a mother. So when she sat down and when she had this conversation with Jeremiah, she would say, hey, I am a mom. And she would tell other people this, hey, I am a mom. And their observation was, it's kind of interesting that she chose to use that statement to bring up her reality versus saying, hey, I have a daughter. Now you might be thinking like, well, what's the difference? Like, it's just semantics, right? But other people's points and observations that I agree with boil down to the fact that like you kind of aren't just coming out and being like super clear and even super proud of the fact that there is this other person involved in this relationship if you choose to get in one with me. Like the iconic scene where Huda is talking with another contestant, Nick, and she tells him, hey, I'm a mommy, and it takes him a little while to like get it, like, mommy, mamacita, you're like a mom of what? A dog, like in real life. And that's a funny scene, but you see how it took him a little bit to process. When she said, I'm a mommy, very different than, hey, Nick, I have a daughter, because now you're actually bringing in another person into the fold for Nick to be like, oh crap. If somebody chooses to get with you, Huda, man, it's not just you. It's a package deal type thing. So a lot of the think pieces about this kind of boil down to the fact that when I'm talking about this, I'm just making it all about myself, right? I'm a mommy. I'm the mommy. I'm the mommy. Me. I'm a mom. I'm a mom. And it just makes it seem like kind of self-centered, kind of just like, yeah, this is my identity. This is my reality, and not really putting enough emphasis on the fact that, hey, I have a son, his name is Bob, or I have a daughter and her name is Amelia, and really bringing in that the significance of the fact that other people, our children, are involved in our dating decisions. So for example, how I go about it, I don't just say, let's just say somebody didn't know that I was a single dad, and I met her at a bar or at an event, and she didn't look at my socials, or she's not subscribed to the Single Parents podcast like she should be, and we just start talking, and she's like, oh, tell me about yourself. I would say, yeah, I'm a dad of 2 daughters. I have 2 little girls, and I would probably tell them their name, or usually, obviously, on my phone, I have like their picture as like my wallpaper. So I'll show them like a picture on my phone on my wallpaper. So that, I mean, you can send me an email, say in the comments, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. But to me, that instantly sets the tone, sets the truth of, hey, if I choose to keep talking or pursuing this guy in like a romantic type of way, I need to know that those 2 girls that he showed me on his phone, his 2 daughters, they're part of the deal too, and that's something I got to consider. I got to think about if that's my preference. Do I want to step into it? Because there's a lot to it, but perhaps this is a big assumption. Maybe like the way Huda went about bringing that up, or why some people would phrase it the way that Huda phrased it, was maybe to, I don't know, I'm using air quotes if you're just listening to the audio version of this, soften the blow a little bit, maybe because they're not fully proud of the fact that they have kids. Not saying she doesn't love her daughter, not saying sometimes the people who would phrase it the same way don't love their kids, but when you're talking to somebody like that, and especially when you're pursuing them romantically, there can be this, I don't know, maybe some shame, a little embarrassment. So to kind of, I guess, ease the tension a little bit, instead of saying, hey, I have a daughter, here's her picture, and, she's amazing, blah, blah, blah. I just say, oh yeah, so about me, I work at the mall, and I'm a mom, and I go to the gym a lot. But, here's a little bit about me, and here's something you should know, but I don't want that to scare you off or to instantly push you away. So I'll kind of just downplay it a little bit by saying, yeah, I'm a mom, and blah, 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 blah. Does that make sense? I hope I'm explaining that correctly, because I just thought that was an interesting point that I saw some people making that I had really never thought of before, because I think when it comes to communication, being as clear and transparent as possible is obviously key. But I think sometimes we purposely word things, or maybe not even purposely, subconsciously even, word things in a way that still protects us, that still allows us hopefully to receive love and acceptance from the other person. Because hey, I got to tell this person that I have a kid, because they're going to find out eventually. And I don't want it to be months of talking and going on dates, month 3 to be like, oh, hey, by the way, I have a child. And then that's just a whole thing. So I need to bring this up. But maybe, again, I'm a little nervous. I don't want to be rejected because of this. So instead of saying, hey, I have a son or a daughter, and here's a little bit about them, we'll just say, oh yeah, I'm a mom. I'm a mommy. Yeah. And try to go from there, I guess. I don't know. I just thought that was pretty interesting. So my last big takeaway after watching Huda on Love Island for the last several weeks, it's just going to kind of be centered around the idea of, how do I want to say this? Maybe weaponizing our parenthood. I don't know if weaponizing is the best word, but emotionally manipulating other people into feeling or doing certain things based on the fact that we're single parents. Let me give you an example. So what I noticed about Huda on this season is that when she really wants to get what she wants, or she wants to foster a sense of sympathy for herself, or she wants to bring somebody to her side, or she wants to kind of excuse some poor behavior, often what she'll do is be like, hey, so I need to sit you down. I know you don't like the way I just cussed somebody out. I know you don't like the way that I'm handling certain things. I know that you might think I'm a little crazy, but I just need to tell you, nobody else knows this. This is just between me and you. But the reason why I have to act like this is because, again, to point number 2, I'm a mommy. And then, depending on who she's talking to, sometimes the person will be like, oh, okay, that's awesome, girl, or whatever. Or, to one guy, this guy named Ace on the show, she tried to pull that same thing with, and he just kind of looked at her and was basically like, cool. And all right, nice. Like, I had a mom too. So what's your point? But she'll try that tactic, right? And she'll do that even with the people she's dating, specifically the main guy she was dating, Jeremiah, of like, hey, well, I'm a mom, and so basically this gets to excuse all this crazy toxic behavior, because at the end of the day, like, I still got to think about my kid, and you're not even thinking about that, and all these different things. Like, she tried to pull that a lot. Like, it was kind of like a running joke online for a lot of people. And I think that was really rough to watch, because I think that, and this might not be a popular opinion for my fellow single parent brothers and sisters out there, but I'm just going to say it, because I love my people. I love us as hot SPs, but I don't think that anybody owes us anything for being a single mom or single dad. I don't think anybody owes us anything for being a single parent. Now let me break that down because I don't want to hurt too many feelings. I think that it's great that we have people who will empathize with us, who will support us, that we can work through things together with, because as we say multiple times on the show, a lot of times being a single parent isn't always easy. There's a lot of hard days. There's a lot of days where we just want to go in the room at the end of the day and just need to cry or scream or whatever. Like, it's not easy. There's a lot of great, awesome things about being a single parent, and we talk about them on the show all the time. But it can be and is for a lot of us a very hard reality. And I think it's wonderful that we have friends and family and people who want to come and support and be there for us and lift us up and encourage us and all the things that we can be open with and transparent with. Great, amazing, love to see it. But I think when we feel entitled to those responses because of our situation, I think doesn't work so well. And I think maybe we take the people in our life who just want to show up and love us for the sake that they love us for granted, because we think that we're owed that for some reason, because of the fact that being a single parent isn't always easy sometimes. I don't think that it's necessarily. I saw the Ace response, right? I told you, Huda told Ace, I'm a mommy. And he didn't, immediately be like, oh my gosh, girl, that's so great. Like, I totally understand now. It all makes sense. I get why you just called Jeremiah out his name, called him everything but a child of God. I totally get that now, because you have a daughter to think of. Like, he just stoically sat there, arms crossed, and was just like, cool, okay. And like, that's not going to change how I think about you. I still don't like you. I still don't like you and what you're doing in this villa. And I thought that was an appropriate and healthy response, because I don't think that it would have been very disingenuous if Ace, who had beef with Huda for several episodes now, would have been like, oh, you're a mom. Cool. Okay. Now I'm on your side. Now I totally excuse everything you do. Like, I'm not going to try to say anything else negatively about you. Like, no, like, hey, cool. I understand that you're a mom. I have a mom. I love single moms. This has nothing to do with that. The reason why we have beef is because I just don't like you as a person, as a human being. I don't like you, Huda, for you. Or I don't like you, Anthony, for you. It has nothing to do with your role as a parent. It has nothing to do with your kids. You are just somebody I just don't vibe with. And I think that's okay. Because I think, number one, our whole identity in ourselves isn't just the fact that we're a mom, we're a mamacita, that we're a single parent. Like, that describes us, that describes our reality, but it's not our whole reality. We're other things too. And sometimes those other things is, for some of us, we're also, I don't know, unlikable, jerks, toxic. We can be abusive ourselves. So two things can be true at the same time. Somebody could be a single mom and be toxic. Somebody could be a single dad and be verbally abusive. Somebody can be a single parent and be a douche, or somebody that people don't want to hang out with, or somebody that people just like want to keep their distance from. Like, two things or three things or four things can be true at the same time. So when we want to try to come in and try to manipulate people with our single parent reality, or try to weaponize it or use it to get what we want, then I don't think we get or have the right to cry and scream when that doesn't work. Like, sometimes it does work, and this is why people do it, to gain that extra sense of sympathy from people. We'll throw it out there, or we'll talk about how hard our life is in an extra dramatic way and things of that nature. And I don't saying that's bad. We shouldn't share stuff about our situation. We shouldn't be transparent and open with people. But I think you guys get what I'm saying. When we try to use that to manipulate others, to get them to feel a certain way about us, or to do certain things for us for our advantage, and we know we're doing it, and we're just not being truly authentic by bringing certain things up, that's when the issue that I'm talking about arises. I don't think it's beneficial. I don't think it's very healthy for our relationships. If we're trying to use our single parent reality to generate artificial responses from people for the sake of our own personal gain, then I think we're just going to really miss out on and truly enjoying and living in the true, authentic relationships that we have with the people who do want to hear our stories and who do want to support us and who just naturally do want to be on our side without having to be guilted into it, without having to feel manipulated into it, without having to feel the pity for us that gets them to do what we want them to do. I think we can be better than that, and I really noticed that from watching Huda on this season. And if I was talking to Huda, I'd be like, look, Huda, like, you don't have to do that. You're a beautiful woman. You're obviously a very strong woman. Like, a lot of people have opinions on how you talk to people and how you handle conflict. And, when it comes to your relationship stuff, there's a lot of think pieces on that. But when it comes to you as a person, you're more than just a mom. You're a lot of other things too. And I know that you being a mom is a big part of your life, but don't feel like that's all that you have to offer people in order to get them to have sympathy for you and care about you and to be on your side. Because I think if we just show up and just be true, genuine people, then people are naturally just going to want to do that anyways, because people love supporting and rooting for true, authentic, and genuine people. That's my thoughts. But what do you all think? I kind of broke down a few of my big takeaways, but I want to hear from you for sure. So a few ways that you can voice your thoughts, your opinions, your disagreements, your questions, all the things. You can just follow our socials and leave comments there or send me some DMs. We're on all the things. Just look up the Single Parents Podcast. Links in the description. Or what you could do is you could just send us an email, send me an email, thesingleparentspodcast@gmail.com. That's thesingleparentspodcast@gmail.com. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. This was fun. I haven't done like a sit down talk with you guys in a little bit, and it's been good to do that, especially when the conversation is something that I just love so much. This is that good old trashy reality TV, baby. Yeah, so I'm going to go work on this episode. I'm going to go edit it so I can sit my butt down on my couch and watch another episode tonight. So I'm going to go do that. I hope you all have a fantastic week. Enjoy yourselves out there. Happy summer. We'll see you back here next week for another brand new episode. But in the meantime, my name's Anthony, and you all out there, just stay beautiful. Bye.